Today I will read Grandpa's Great Escape by David Walliams. This is the tale of a boy called Jack and his grandfather. Once upon a time, Grandpa was a Royal Air Force pilot. During World War II, he flew a Spitfire fighter plane. Our story is set in 1983. This was a time before internet and mobile telephones and computer games that could be played for weeks on end. In 1983, Grandpa was already an old man, but his grandson Jack was just 12 years old. This is Jack's mother, Mom, and Dad. Mom, Barbara, works at the cheese counter in the local supermarket. Dad Barry is an accountant. Ray is the local newsagent. Miss Verity is the history teacher at Jack's school. Detectives Beef and Bone are a crime-fighting duo. There's the town's wizard, Reverend Cock. The security guard works in the Imperial War Museum in London. Miss Wynne is the matron of the local old folks' home, Twilight Towers. Some of the elderly residents there include Mrs. Triff, the Major, and the Rear Admiral. These are some of the nurses who worked at Twilight Towers. Nurse Rose, Nurse Daisy, and Nurse Blossom. This is Twilight Towers. This is a map of the town. Look a minute. I don't want to read this. Let's skip it. Chapter 1. Spam a la crusted. Jack was a child who was happiest alone in his bedroom. A naturally shy boy. He didn't have many friends. Instead of spending his days playing football in the park with all the other kids from school, he would stay inside assembling his puzzled collection of model airplanes. His favorites were from World War II, the Lancaster bomber, the Hurricane, and of course his grandfather's old plane, the now legendary Spitfire on the Naze side. He had models of the Dornier bomber and the Junkers and the Spitfire's deadly nemesis, the Messerschmitt. With great care, Jack could paint his model plane, then fix them to the ceiling with fishing wire suspended in the air. They looked like they were in the middle of a dramatic dogfight. At night, he would stare up at them from his bunk bed and drift off to sleep, dreaming he was an rough flying ace, just like his grandfather's once was. The boy kept a picture of Grandpa by his bed. He was a young man in the old black and white photograph. It was taken sometime in 1940, at the height of the Battle of Britain. Grandpa was standing proudly in his rough uniform. In his dreams, Jack would go up, away, just like his father had. The boy would have given everything he had, all of his past and all of his future, for one moment behind the controls of Grandpa's legendary Spitfire. In his dreams, he could be a hero. In his life, he felt like a zero. The problem was that each day was exactly the same. He could go to school every morning, do his homework every afternoon, and eat his dinner in front of the television every night. If only he wasn't too shy. If only he had lots of friends. If only he could break free from his boring life. The highlight of Jack's week was Sunday. That was the day his parents should leave him with his grandfather. Before the old man had become too confused, he could take his grandson on the most magical days out. The Imperial War Museum was the place they loved to visit the most. It was not too far away. In London was a treasure trove of things military. Together the pair would marvel at the old warplanes hanging from the ceiling of the great room. The legendary Spitfire was, of course, their absolutely favorite. Seeing her always brought Grandpa's memories of the war floating back. He would share these stories with his grandson, who devoured every word. On the long bus journey home, Jack would bombard the old man with hundreds and hundreds of questions. What's the fastest speed you ever went in your Spitfire? Did you ever to parachute out? Which is the better fighter plane, the Spitfire or the Messerschmitt? Grandpa loved answering him. Often a crowd of children would gather around the old man on the top deck of the bus home to listen to these incredible tales. It was the summer of 1940. Grandpa would begin. The head of the Battle of Britain. One night I was flying my Spitfire over the English Channel. I had become separated from my squadron. My fireplane had taken a pounding in a dogfight. Now I was limping back to base. Then just behind me, I heard machine guns. Rat-tat-tat. I was a Nazi Messerschmitt right on my tail again. Rat-tat-tat. It was just the two of us alone over the sea. That night would be an epic fight to the death. Grandpa enjoyed nothing more than sharing stories of his World War II adventures. Jack would listen intently. Every little detail fascinated him. Over time, the boy became something of an expert on these old fighter planes. Grandpa would tell his grandson that he would make an excellent pilot one day. This always made the boy burst with pride. Then later in the day, if ever an old black and white war film was on the television, the pair would snuggle up on the sofa together in Grandpa's house and watch it. Reach for the Sky was one day watched it over and over again. The classic told the story of a pilot who lost both legs in a horrible accident before World War II. Despite this, the Spader went on become a legendary flying ace. Rainy Saturday afternoons were made for reach for the sky. One of our aircraft is missing. On the way to the stars, or a matter of life and death. For Jack, there was nothing better. Sadly, the food at Grandpa's home was always diabolical. He called it rations, as he had during the war. The old man only ever ate food from tins. For dinner, he would settle a couple it at complete random from his larder and empty them into a pan together. Corned beef with pineapple chunks, nuts and rice pudding, treacle spoon with peas, baking beans mixed with tinned peaches, diced carrots in condensed milk, chocolate pudding covered in tomato soup, pilchards with spaghetti hoops, steak and kidney pudding and fruit cocktail, haggis topped with cherries and syrup, and Grandpa's specialty, Sam a la custard. The use of the French words gave it an air of poshness it did not deserve. Fortunately, the boy didn't come for the school's food. World War II was the most important time in Grandpa's life. It was a time when brave Royal Air Force pilots like him fought of their country in the Battle of Britain. The Nazis were planning an invasion, a plot they called Operation Lion. However, without being able to secure power over the skills to protect their troops on the ground, the Nazis were never able to put their plan into action. Day after day, night after night, rough pilots like Grandpa risked their lives to keep the people of Britain free from being captured by Nazis. So instead of reading a book to his grandson at bedtime, the old man would tell the boy of his real-life adventures during the war. His stories were more thrilling than any you could find in the book. One more tale, Grandpa, please, the boy begged on one such night. I want to hear about when you were shut down by the love wave and have to crash land into the England Channel. As late, young Jack, Grandpa replied. You go to sleep. I promise I will tell you that tale and plenty more in the morning. But I'll meet you in your dreams, squadron leader, said the old man as he kissed Jack tenderly on the forehead. Squadron leader was his nickname for his grandson. I'll see you in the skids. Up, up, away. Up, up, and away. The boy repeated before drifting off to sleep in Grandpa's spare room, dreaming he too was a fighter pilot. Time spent with Grandpa couldn't have been more perfect, but that was all about to change. Okay, I'll read one chapter. If you like this, 請撳訂閱啦。